Happy Wednesday, everyone. It is gloomy outside, but it's always sunny with us, with our coaching and training team. I am Irma Ilaridze, your coach, and I have an amazing Delaney Briggs with me today. We are going to talk about DLP. We're super excited. Hopefully, you guys are just as pumped as we are. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to Delaney, and let's have some fun.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Work Your Wednesday on the digital listing presentation. Our agenda for today is we're going to go through a quick overview on the digital listing presentation itself, and then we'll move into a live demo of the DLP. We have an amazing agent panel for you this morning. We have two agents from the Western suburbs joining us, Annie Harrington and Haroon Masood. And then we're going to go into an overview of week 2. So what you can expect next week from us as we go into a little bit of a deeper dive on the DLP and ways you can utilize it in your business. So let's talk about the digital listing presentation. This tool allows you to differentiate yourself to capture as many listings as possible. And we all know that we all want to get some more listings as we go into the summer and the fall and the rest of the year. So a couple key quick points on the DLP. This allows you to differentiate yourself as quickly as possible once your appointment is confirmed with a seller. So you can get this tool out within like 20 minutes when you know you have a listing appointment. This allows you to easily and concisely convey the selling process. It also showcases you as an expert in your local real estate market. It also highlights your distinctive value proposition in a really clear and concise manner. And the best part about this tool is if you want it to, it allows you to easily link to the digital CMA tool within platform. So let's jump into our live demo. I'm going to kick it over to Irma to show you guys how to create a digital listing presentation.
Thank you. So we are always going to start with the platform. We're going to dive deeper into more of like minutia next week. So please be sure to join us next week. We're super excited to have you back. So we're going to dive deeper into the profile because this is the first place you want to start if you haven't used DLP in a minute, because everything about you really feeds over there. So you want to make sure that everything is up and running, updated, optimized, audited, whatever else. So that being said, we always want to start with the profile. But again, we will get into that next week. Now, when you're on a platform, we always utilize our search platform tool over here on top left. I love using it. It's a great shortcut. So what I'm going to do, I can either start typing digital or I can use the keywords DLP or DBP, depending on what you're looking for. So that being said, I started typing in digital. Here is that keyword popping up for me, and I am going to click on it. So that way I can end up on a platform for the DLP directly. That being said, let's do a little bit of overview of this specific screen. So right on top here, if if this does become your favorite tool, you can actually add it to favorites. So that way it's going to be in favorites right here on top right. So you can have a shortcut and get into it immediately if you're on a go. Now, on the screen right here, if you want to see all of your DLPs in one place, you can expand it to view 10 to 100 of them on a page. So you can navigate it that way. You can search for specific DLPs here on top right. Or if you do want to see how your DLP was performing, you can click into the 3 dots right here. You can check out the stats. If you have a templated DLP where you have specific testimonials, specific past sales arranged in a specific way, where you're going maybe after specific markets, you can actually clone that. So you can utilize it that way as a template in a templated form. You can delete, preview, and edit all in one place using the menu options right here that's under 3 dots. Now, for me right now, I do actually want to start one. So for me to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on top right, which is the add new. And then I get to choose whether it's a buyer presentation or listing presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and choose listing presentation. That's the topic for today. And as you can see, I have the main screen, and then I also have a navigation panel on the right-hand side. So if I do need to get into specific pages and jump around, I can do that as well. So I don't have to save a next, each step just to get to a specific screen. Now, if you are preparing digital listing presentation for clients, you can name this presentation so you remember what that is. If you're not sure what each field is, there is a little bit of that kind of, pop-up information bar for you here to help you navigate. So this presentation name is something that you are actually going to see on a previous screen, so you remember which one that was. So for me right now, I'm going to call it a branding listing presentation because I think this is really a standalone piece that you can utilize for so many things. You can add a QR code to it on a postcard. You can post it to social media using the website URL. You can send it to your entire CRM, or you can send it to specific people. So that will allow you to sort of have one that's like a branding general blanket presentation you can use for many, many things to promote your brand. Now, if you are doing it for clients, this is where you maybe would put the client's name or address here so you remember what that is. And next week, again, we invite you back to come back to us because we are going to dig into how to link it up to QR code, how to post it on social, how to send it out using this specific tool or hyperlink it in the eCampaign. I hope you guys actually were watching us present the eCampaign the last few times because our tools do plug in beautifully into eCampaign tool using hyperlinks, or such as custom reports, they do plug in directly into eCampaign. So all of these tools we're very excited about because they do interact with each other and give you that leg up in the field and with your competition, right? So that being said, now that I've named my branding listing presentation here that I'm going to see on a dashboard, I'm going to move down and just explain a few more fields. If you do have a co-listing agent, that agent's profile page will be a part of your presentation. So their testimonials, their headshot, their bio is going to be a secondary profile page under yours. So that's the beauty of adding them in if you do have a co-listing agent. So be sure to utilize that field if you want to. If you're on a team, same thing here. You will have team assets popping into the presentation. If you are building this for a specific address, this is the place to utilize it. And if you are sending this specifically to clients about a specific home, this is the field that you want to use primary and secondary client, wife, husband, whoever else. Now we're at the title screen options. So we have 3 choices here, which is awesome because if you are using this for the specific address, this is where you would utilize this specific screen. It would showcase the address on the cover page. Client names could be a really cool thing. It just gives that, kind of like a unique spin to it. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel special. So client names sometimes could be even better than the address because the address is kind of like more of a static cookie cutter presentation making feeling. But with client names, I think there's just that elevated experience for them to make them feel good because we're all about love here. Now for the custom, this is where I implore you to really utilize this. If this is not for specific clients or addresses, if this is a branding presentation, why wouldn't we want to name it something that's almost like value proposition and explainer, right? So I would say if I were an agent, why work with Irma, right? Why work with me? Because this presentation is going to allow me to help them understand what my value in the field is, what I can do for them. And so this would be the great place to sort of like add your branding tagline or question why work with, let's say, you. Now the next bracket of options here is to choose your cover screen. So, or cover page rather. So we have a beautiful couch. I love this specific one. The kitchen is gorgeous. So I'm going to choose that. And as you can see, I have the save and next section. Now, if you truly need to save this specific screen, don't ever abandon this page. Make sure that you actually click save and next to navigate to the next one, as this will save the previous page. And you will see the same button on top. So I'm going to go ahead and click into that one. And that allows me to get to the next page that is agent assets, right? So if you do have a logo, you can toggle it on or off. Headshots, if you were to click edit headshot, that would actually send you back to the profile. So that's why I think to save time each and every time, whenever you use our tools, it's always best to start with the profile section first on platform. And that way you can update everything at once. So that way you don't have to do it bracket by bracket here. So that way, again, if you do have a new headshot, this is where you would change it. For the bio, you can edit it as well. It's going to push you back into the profile. Now, I do want to mention the short bio versus long bio. The short bio, you want to have that filled out because that's a preview on a DLP screen that will allow people to navigate to the long bio if they are in a headspace to read more about you, to learn more about you. So be sure to have it because if you don't, the long bio will pop in. It might look a little overwhelming right at the first glance. So be sure that you use this optimization trick to actually navigate this tool correctly. So do fill in both. Now the video, you know, we're all queens of promoting videos on our team, kings and queens, because videos are really just the top of the line when it comes to promoting your brand, doing marketing while you sleep. So we do allow videos to plug into DLP to help you, you know, just build your brand better and elevate that experience for whoever's actually navigating the DLP presentation. So again, we're coming back to the profile. If you do have a video hosted on YouTube or Vimeo, you can grab that link, add that to the profile, and then what's going to happen, it's going to actually feed over here under select a video. There will be a drop down, and if you have a few, you can choose whichever one you want to feed over to that specific DLP. So maybe you do have a video about listing presentations, but then you also have a video about helping buyers. So that way, depending on what type of DLP or DBP you are using, you can plug in specific video into that specific presentation. Highlights. I always tell my agents, toot your own horn because nobody else will. So do take advantage of the highlights. They're great icebreakers. They're great value proposition pieces here. So even if you speak another language, even if you're the only Nancy in Arlington Heights, plug that in because these are the things that will catch someone's attention. It is a conversation starter and great opportunity for you to just showcase yourself and separate yourself from everybody else who's competing for that same listing. We also offer testimonials here. You could feed up to 12 testimonials into the presentation. You do have an opportunity to rearrange them. So you're always in a driver's seat when it comes to showcasing best testimonials, that the ones that of your choosing, right? So be sure that you click into edit testimonials, rearrange them, pick your favorite ones. And just a quick reminder, the testimonials do feed over from Zillow and they do feed over from the DMS once the deal closes, but they don't get populated. So if you don't know the fact that you do need to get into testimonials to make them visible, that's kind of like a heads up for you. Do check out the profile under testimonials tab to make sure they are published, and that way they can feed over into DLP. They can be featured on your website. So this is just a quick tip for you right on this page. But I am good with my testimonials, so I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Next. And that screen will get me to my active listings. Now, this specific profile does not have active listings, but if you did, they would actually pop over here. You do have 12 of them that will feed over. So again, you can arrange them based on who this listing presentation is going to, right? So be sure to take a look. You could enter your own listing. So if this is a private listing, you could get the picture in there, street address, list price, and hit OK. So that listing will get populated. So if it is not feeding here, no worries, you could plug it in yourself. Now I'm going to hit Save and Next again. And this is where now I have the list of my recent sales. And again, if you are maybe doing, let's say, an AdWorks campaign that you're linking up to a DLP presentation in a specific zip code that you've actually sold and bought in with your clients, well, mostly sold because obviously your listings will pop over here. So you could feature those specific listings for that area right in this list. So you can delete them out. You can arrange them based on the price or location. So you are, again, in a driver's seat here to promote listings that are relevant to the clients and where the DLP is going to go. And now I'm going to hit save and next as well. And we come to the marketing assets. Now, in my opinion, Global Luxury Network is just a win. So we always want to feature this specific video that's going to pop into DLP. Network is your net worth. I love that quote from Ryan Serhant. I'm a huge fan of $1 Million Listing New York. So do take advantage of your network, talk about it, promote it. That's what separates us from the pack. So make sure that you do feature this, and also take a look at this video. It could give you great talking points when you're actually presenting this in front of your potential clients. Now, if you are offering listing videos to most of your clients, this would be a great time to toggle this video on. This is a great video that promotes our listing video program. And then signage, we have the best signs out there, you guys. So don't skip out on this opportunity to showcase what they look like, because not everybody has bought and sold with @properties before. They may not be aware of what these look like. Probably people who are new to the area, because our signs are all over the place and we're awesome and they're awesome. So be sure that to toggle this on to promote that specific piece of information. Custom marketing plan. Now, this one you definitely don't want to snooze on, you guys. This is what separates you. Agents are equivalent of like, candy in a candy shop. When a client comes into the candy shop, they're going to buy a specific candy based on your personality, on your, brand. So that is kind of like the equivalent of that to me. So be sure that you utilize these specific customizable fields to, again, separate yourself from the competition. So custom marketing plan could be literally the steps, the roadmap of what's it like to be a client and what happens with the listing from day one until it closes, right? And we can help you with that. So these could be branded to you. They can be uploaded as a PDF into this specific presentation. So maybe you have custom marketing plan for a specific property, if you're talking about that property, so you can upload that right here. And also, if you are doing a comparative market analysis for specific clients, you can create that right from here, or you can feed over the one that you already created, perhaps, right? So this is a field to absolutely utilize in case you're working with clients who would need that information. So now that I'm done with the screen, I'm going to again hit save in next section. And last but not least, this is a place where you now navigate how do people receive this, right? So I can share it via email. I can send myself a test just to preview what this email is going to look like. Now, quick heads up here. And again, we're going to dive deeper of how to really go deep with these specific fields next week. So please join us. But when it comes to email recipients, you actually could add a whole list of recipients separated by comma. So if you need this to go to your top 50 people, if you're doing the branding presentation, this is the place to utilize it, right? So you can separate by comma, copy paste those email addresses. Now, email subject line, I can't stress enough how important it is. This is literally a 50-50 chance of them opening or not opening your email based on what they see first. Think about how you navigate your own personal Gmail and Hotmail or whatever else you're using. When you get an email from somebody, right? The very first thing that you do, if you're most likely you're going to open it from somebody you know, number one. And number two, you're going to open it based on the email subject line. So use keywords such as like, don't miss out. Use your name in it. Do things that create sort of like a FOMO feeling. So that way, if they are looking at this email subject line, it entices them to open it. So this has it has to do with the open rate here directly. So be sure that you put some thought into here. And same with the email message, right? If it's going to a specific set of people, be sure to craft a great message and ChatGPT to rescue if you're having a writer's block, right? So be sure to utilize this as well. Now, our newer feature that we're extremely excited about, I'm ecstatic about this. You can actually text this to people. This is going to go right into their phones. So you can actually add the phone numbers for the recipients right in this field. Same thing, you can separate these phone numbers by comma. And the text message, again, don't snooze on making it unique. something that will make them want to take a look at the presentation. So this is actually a newer feature that we're extremely excited about. Now, just to quickly show you what the presentation is going to look like, I'm going to hit preview, and that's going to open it up for me in the next screen. And here we are. Here is my custom cover page, right? With why work with Irma. Right away, I set the tone, what the presentation is about, so they understand what this is for. And to scroll, you just use your mouse. And here we are, page 2. We have our Ann Proper here with the short bio. So see, this is where they can click read full bio or watch a video if you actually inserted one. Now, here are my testimonials. These are great value proposition pieces. So be sure that you utilize these because you're going to see a few of them here, but then they can click more. So the first 1 or 2 that you're going to have here are going to be essential to them clicking into more to pique that interest, right? So start with your best ones. And here are your recent sales. So we're going to take a look at that. 3 out of 12, or we can do up to 12 right now. It's 8 that are in a presentation that are going to show here. So again, start with the stronger ones in the beginning to build that value. And we have our highlights. So again, toot your own horn, put your best foot forward, add in anything that is unique and specific to you and your brand, fill them in. We have a header and a subheader, so fill in both. And here's your contact me information. And then as you can see, this is, of course, it looks and feels like our brand, beautiful imagery, amazing photography, right? Like beautiful designs. So we actually delve into the story of At Properties here a little bit. So when you are presenting this, it gives you talking points. It gives you even stuff that you can talk about right here. So if you are a little nervous, if a client is a little bit intimidating, you pretty much have this laid out for you. This is a great roadmap to win that listing. And then we have more beautiful imagery. This reminds me of Instagram a little bit here. Just something that is familiar to the eye. So again, it's going to grab my attention as a consumer. Industry leading technology. Our technology is really one of the best out there. So talk about platform, talk about exposing listings to our networks, right? So we talk about the marketing game plan here. Now, again, we do have these scroll buttons here that will help you navigate the conversation about marketing. Targeted online exposure, strategic digital retargeting, think AdWorks. We really do have sleek collateral and print advertising, so talk about that. Ad Agent app, we're over 3,500 people strong that are helping you sell this, right, and promote it to their clients. So talk about your network. And eye-catching email marketing, right? We really do provide a great marketing book here, right, for you to talk about. Listing video, that's the one that I decided to toggle on, and you can play this with the clients or have them play on their own time, but always come back to this and see if they have any questions so you can kind of dig into a conversation here. Signage, here you go. That's the video that I also turned on. And every home has a story, but interesting enough, this page will or will not have a button with your marketing plan, depending whether or not you actually insert that in as a PDF. That's the page that we've talked about previously. So if you don't add your marketing plan here, this is what this page is going to look like. If you do, the button will pop up that will have a call to action to click into it and take a look at your marketing plan. Now, Artfully Aligned, we're a part of Christie's brand. So this is some beautiful stuff that you can explain and talk about and showcase. This again is something that sets us apart. Christie's is not just a luxury brand, it's just the level of service, right? So that's where we want to drive that conversation. So whether it's a condo or a luxury home, the service level stays the same with everybody. We are inclusive of everybody. So this is something that allows you to navigate that conversation, showcase beautiful imagery, get them excited. People do react to beautiful imagery. This is the reason why Instagram is so relevant. So do take advantage of all of these pages to talk about the brand and build your value. And last but not least, we have on the market pages. So art and science of pricing. So definitely go through these. Learn this presentation from A to Z. So that way you can talk about our partners as well, because we do help each other out in the field. So talk about them, talk about proper rates, throw in commercials and, you know, if that's a client that it's relevant to. So we keep these types of clients in-house, right? Because we get to showcase what we can do for them. We're a one-stop shop for everybody here, whether it's rental, relocation, commercial, whatever else. So this is our presentation. That's what it's going to look like. The link here on top is something that I'm going to save for the next week to talk about how we can utilize it to hyperlink it in emails, share it on social, add it to the QR code. So come back to us. And now I am going to, again, kick it back to our awesome Delaney. So let me go ahead and get it into the present mode. And before I navigate away from here, Delaney, is there anything that you maybe wanted to add on to specific screen that I'm on right now, or this?
No, I think, you know, obviously the most important thing is that you guys know what you're sending to people. So really go through this, look at the presentation, know what's in there so that if you get questions about it, you can answer. But no, I think that was perfect. Thanks, Irma.
Of course. So I'm going to kick it back to you. So let me get back into the presenter mode because I'm super excited about our panelists that we're going to invite. Hold on. I need to actually drag that over here. Let me try it one more time, you guys. I'm sorry. This is two-screen navigation. So much fun. Oh my goodness. All right. Give me one more second here. Present. And let me see if it'll let me do that. Yep. Here we go. Okay. Take it away.
Okay, thanks, Irma. Okay, I'm really excited to welcome our two panelists this morning. So we have Haroon, who is out of our Hinsdale office, and we have Annie, she's out of Western Springs. Thank you guys so much for jumping on with us this morning. So I'm going to start with you, Haroon. I want to know, you know, when in your process do you use the digital listing presentation?
Yeah, so for those who don't know me, I'm in the Hinsdale office, but I'm not exactly a hyper local agent. I work all across the suburbs, I work all across the city, and I do a lot of like cold outreach. I didn't come into the business just having like a big network of people who I already know are going to be buying and selling. I had to kind of generate leads on my own, and so because of that, I like to use both the digital listing presentation and the digital buyer presentation as kind of like a way to just establish credibility and kind of build some sort of relationship, start to build a relationship with the client. So I do it pretty early on. Sometimes if I even cold call a person and it's a potential seller in a suburb where maybe there's not that many app properties signage that are around that area, maybe they're not super familiar with it. I like to send it then just to kind of again establish credibility with that person and just kind of showcase what we're all about. Give a little bit of background on me, give a background on app properties, and it's been for that purpose, it's been very, very effective.
Awesome. And Haroon, when did you get into the business? Like a
I
couple
got
months
into the
ago?
business of almost coming up on 3 years now, about like
Okay.
2.5 to 3 years.
And you've had a really good start to your business,
Thank you. Yes.
right? I mean, I feel like you've been crushing it since you got in. And I feel like, you know, one of the reasons is you really embrace the tools that are offered to you and you make them your own. And like, I love the fact that you're like, this just helps with building credibility.
Yeah.
I can totally agree with that. So I'm super happy to hear that it's working out well for you.
Yeah, thank you. Sometimes that's like all it takes, like to separate you from another agent with another company. It's like they just need to see that you're kind of just one step ahead and you're
Mhm.
just, doing that full process of trying to again just build a relationship with someone and just showcase kind of what our strengths are.
Yeah. Other company or even at to at. I mean, we go up against at app brokers at times. And so a lot of those fields that Irma pointed out with video or the marketing plan, like ways to differentiate yourself even amongst each other, are really valuable to fill
Absolutely.
out. Annie, I want to ask you the same question. So when in the, your process, do you utilize the digital listing presentation?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Um, you know, when I get a listing opportunity, I usually have a process. Um, you know, pretty basic. At first, after the initial phone call and answering asking them a few questions, explaining how I work, and then I just ask for a time to come by. And then when I come over the first time, it's just, quickly to tour the home, take detailed notes and some pictures. And I try not to leave, without setting up that next meeting. In between, I'll drop off the listing packet. And then when we meet again, I just go over the current market, the CMA I created, and marketing plan, and any questions they might have. And then when I'm done and back home, I'll send the DLP as a follow-up. So I love it, as an ex-educator, I think it's a great way to loop back and just be sure they get a little review of everything that I taught them. People seem to be really receptive to that.
That's great. I love utilizing it as a follow-up. So it sounds like neither of you actually like sit down and go through this presentation when you're sitting with the seller, right? It's either like a before piece as to like a what's to come, or like you said, Annie, it's a really good piece as like a, here's everything we talked about. If you have more questions, I'm here.
Yeah, and I let them know before I leave that last meeting that I'm going to send it, and that the CMA will be a part of it. And I leave behind the paper binded copy, but I just mentioned, I know that's not for everybody, so you'll have this digitally, by the end of the day.
I
Yeah.
love it.
And I don't present it in person either.
Mhm.
I like to send it out beforehand. And honestly, it works really well for me because when I go to the meeting, they're just kind of asking questions based on kind of what they saw. If it's a buyer, sometimes it'll be like, hey, we saw something about private listings on the Zenlist. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? So it's more interactive once I get to the meeting.
Awesome. I love that people are actually like looking at it before you get there. That's always positive feedback to hear.
sure.
So that's great. So my next question to you, and Annie, I'm going to start with you this time. How do you utilize the DLP outside of listing presentations?
Okay, sure. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I did last year. So for all my past clients and anybody that I just talk real estate with, I created an InfoSparks graph, just real easy, just showcasing, that's not easy to say, showcasing the appreciation over the past year in their neighborhood. And I text that. And it just kind of wets their whistle, and I'm just explaining how they are creating value just by living there. And then I let them know that I sent them comparable properties that sold over the last year in their neck of the woods in an email. And of course, that email is the DLP. And I do just point out like that they can click on it right when they open up the email. So because it is pretty deep in the DLP, if you go about it that way. But I don't include any exact numbers. They can't really hold me to it. I just create a perspective so they understand the possibility of increased value. And the DLP is just, the pretty bow on top. So they're reminded, oh gosh, look at all they can do for us. If we decided to sell again, or when we decide to sell, I know I'm working with the best possible person and brokerage.
And I want to point out, because I know this is something that you and I worked on together last year to get these DLPs out and to prospect with them. And, I feel like with agents, a lot of the times people want, and it's just with anybody, not even just agents, but people want instant gratification for anything that they're doing. And, we didn't see that right away, right? Like it didn't happen for us right away, but this year, like you feel like it built momentum for you, right? Going into this year, like you're having a strong 2024.
Oh, definitely. I'm not sure that I've received a new client or because of this. Maybe I've just gotten a few thank yous, really. But I do believe it really did help create an energy for my business. So I did this in 2023 for the first time. And I'll just be really honest with you. It was the the worst year I've had in real estate last year. And it sounds cheesy, but I don't think it's a coincidence, like you were saying, that this year is shaping up to be, my best year yet.
Yeah, I think that doing these little actions over time, like we said, even if you don't see anything right away, and with anything we do, a lot of the times it's really hard to pinpoint that like this specifically was successful or this was successful, but it's all about just like the layering of things that you're doing in your business to help it grow and move forward. So for anybody out there who's like, I don't know if I want to do this, it can pay off and it may take some time. But we see now, with Annie having a strong year that it can work. Haroon, how about you? Anything that you're doing outside of listing presentations with the DLP?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the chat earlier. Jed said that he sends it out digitally as soon as he gets a lead. I'm the same way. Sometimes I'm having phone conversations with people who they've lived in the neighborhood for a certain number of years. They don't plan on selling this year, not even next year, but maybe they're interested in their property's value currently, or maybe they're interested in buying something else in a different suburb for an investment property. I work a lot with investors as well. And so I still send it out to these folks, even right when I get off the phone with them. And again, sometimes these are complete strangers who I just happen to get on the phone with and have a conversation about their home with. And I like to send it out then again, just because long term, these like little things that you do for these people, I mean, it can lead to something. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a specific scenario where I've sent it out to someone who was a quote unquote like cold lead, where they weren't really planning on selling and it wasn't really the right time for them. And so what I like to do is I like to like focus on a specific building in the city or specific suburb, specific neighborhood. And then I kind of like to call those folks and, try to get them a valuation. And a really cool thing with the DLP is that it has a CMA already built in, right? And you could customize it to that specific property. It's not just like a general CMA. It's if once they actually are in the DLP and they're scrolling through it and they see everything, it's specific to their home, right? And so it's like you're almost like digitally sitting in front of them, telling them their property's value, and they're doing it at their own convenience on their phone, on their email, over text. And so I like to use it as just like a way to just get my foot in the door to really, really relish that relationship with a long-term lead that'll transpire maybe years down the line, maybe a couple months down the line.
Awesome. I love that. And then Haroon, do you have any success stories from sending either the DLP or the DBP out that you can share with the group? Whether it was even just a positive comment that you've gotten or that, you can correlate to the fact that you won a listing, anything like that?
Yeah, I got 2 listings in one specific building in the city this year. I was about to go on my phone and scroll through my text to see if I actually sent them a DLP, but I have the text messages are so long with those 2 clients, it's gonna take me forever to see. But I would say that like I probably have sent those 2 clients, the 2 specific ones I'm talking about, it's part of my process. I mean, I would be surprised if I didn't send it out. So I'm pretty certain I sent it out to those 2 folks. And but if not, I mean, I've definitely gotten good feedback from it. Because some of the people I'm calling, there's multiple agents calling them, or they've met with multiple agents already from different companies. Maybe it's an app broker, whatever it is. And little things like that, they do notice. You're just going the extra mile. So I would have to double check on those 2. I'm pretty confident they probably got a DLP from me that probably played a role in them ultimately deciding to work with me. But if that's not the case, I've definitely gotten some good feedback from it. And it's such an easy thing to do. Once you get keen on and familiar with how to use the system on platform, it's not a long process. It's very, very simple to do, and it doesn't require a whole bunch of work on my end. And so it's always worth sending out at least.
Yeah. And like you said, you just get comfortable with it. You get comfortable knowing how to speak about it if people have questions. And it is just really a good way to differentiate yourself. Like you said, if a seller is potentially talking to other agents, even at agents,
For sure.
we definitely want to make ourselves stand out. Annie, how about you? Any success stories you've had with the DLP?
You know, I think of it more as like I was saying, attracting positive energy in business, but I definitely think it is a great way to touch base. Like, you know how they say the 8 touches, and we are always trying with whether it be postcards, client appreciation events, drop bys, cap gifts. I think for me, I really appreciate this option because it's not so much the fun, you know, which I think I've got nailed. That's pretty easy for me. But to be sure you understand I'm the professional in this situation, and it really shows your value, you know, even way after the closing day, and a resource for years to come. So I'm really dedicating this as one of my touch points moving forward yearly. I really want to make sure I do this. And like Haroon said, it's once you get going, it doesn't take that long. I know the CMA people get a little freaked out, like, oh, it's going to take forever. Don't make it super detailed, crazy perfect. It's just a range, price point, and you pick the houses that fit in there, and that's it. And once you get into that mindset, it can fly by.
I love the fact that you say you want to incorporate this yearly. Annie, I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
Just so you know. But I think that's great. I mean, like, you know, everyone I feel like is looking for some type of a touch point to do to people, and no one wants to call. They're like, I don't know what to text. This is such a, like you said, once you get the hang of it, it's easy. This is something you could kind of get through pretty quickly, going out to your, you know, top A clients, B clients, whatever it is. So thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing, you know, what you're doing with the DLP and how you're creating success for your clients. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having
You
me.
guys.
Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, guys. So, just a couple quick things before we wrap up for the day. So your next steps. So before we get into next week, we're going to do a deep dive into DLP, ways you can use it outside of listing appointments. So prospecting, like Annie and Haroon said, QR code, add it to social, things like that. But we need you to have your DLP ready. So go into platform, go to your profile tab. All the things that can be included in the DLP are your headshot. Make sure you have one. It's the one you want to have used. If you have a logo, that it's up there. Video. You don't have to have a video between now and next week, but a great video to have, especially if you're not comfortable on video, is to get a client to give you a testimonial from the sell side, from the buy side. Those are fantastic to have. Make sure that your bio is included. Testimonials are in there. Your listings and past sales show up. And if you want to include a custom marketing plan, that you have it ready to go. And then next week, what we're going to be focusing on is that, like I said, deeper dive. So how to outreach to potential sellers in your CRM, utilizing it in a direct mail campaign with a QR code, how to use it on social media, you know, creating a highlight, posting it, adding it as a link to your bio. There's so many ways that you guys can put this presentation in front of people to try to build your business. So thanks for joining us today. We're super excited to see you next week for round 2.